ever have one of those days when you're just really going through it and all you can think to do is to get home and cuddle up and watch your comfort movie? Well, my comfort movie is the sort of movie in which someone uses human intestines to make balloon animals. Well, here we are again. I have just got the January 2025, the very first of the year, from HorrorPack. This is the horror movie subscription service. Every month they send us one of these wonderful boxes that contains 4 horror movies, 4 Blu-rays specifically, one of which will be some sort of a HorrorPack exclusive. And I like to, as I'm doing right now, open these boxes up right here on the channel, and I will discover at the same time as y'all discover whatever might be inside. It's sort of a community thing that we've started to do on this channel and have been keeping up for quite a while. And I'll talk about whatever mystery movies these might be. And if you're interested in any of them, I will conveniently put some purchase links down in the What's It, along with all kinds of other information. And while you're checking that out, you can do all the likey, sharey, subscribey, ring the notification bell, all those kinds of YouTubey things that help me to grow my audience, so someday maybe I can do this full time. Not that I would ever give up all of my other projects anyway. Anyway, I don't know what these movies are yet, and I'll discuss as much as I'm able to, but after I have had a chance to watch them, sometime later in the month or next month, I will be doing my review videos of these, and I'm a little bit behind, but I'm almost caught up on the previous ones as well, so stay tuned for all of that. Anyway, it's been something of a long day for me. Who am I kidding? It's been a long decade for me, but it's been a long day too, and I am getting a little bit tired, but I wanted... This came late in the month, and then I was busy for a couple of days, so obviously it's February now, and I'm just doing the January pack. I wanted to get this done as soon as possible, so that's what we're doing tonight, and I am going to dive right in and see what these movies are. And the first one to come out is The Forever Purge. This is one that I actually have seen. Fairly rare. A lot of times these movies are ones that I have not seen. This is one that I have seen. This is, however, the 4K Ultra version, so it's not even just a Blu-ray, but it's the Super Deluxe 4K Blu-ray. As I said, this is one that I've seen. Of course, this is one of the sequels in the Purge franchise. And The Purge, the first one, I thought was an excellent film. It was an interesting twist on the home invasion subgenre. The sequels, I have thought, a couple of them were decent, but I thought they have gotten less and less good. And I have to admit, this was not one of the better ones as far as I'm concerned. So I tend to really like most of the movies that come out of these horror packs. But that is not a universal truth, and this was one of the ones that unfortunately I have seen and didn't really do a whole lot for me. But in its defense, I did not have a 4K version, and even if I don't like a film, I still like to keep a copy. I like to keep my library. Same goes with books, movies, video games, comic books, whatever. If I read something or watch something, I like to own a copy of it, and I like to curate my library. And even if it wasn't quite to my liking, I keep it around in case maybe in the future I'm in the right mood and maybe I like it more, or just for whatever reason. And since I did not have this 4K version, the higher resolution, the 4K version, actually makes some sense in this case because it is sort of an action horror movie, so the violence and explosions and things will look better. So I am not disappointed by this edition, even though I was not particularly a fan of the film. Anyway, let's move on to the second film, which is Ouija Shark 2. I did not know that there was a sequel to Ouija Shark. And it looks like there's a crocodile and a shark in this one. I have seen the first one of these, and after I talk about this a little bit, I'll share some thoughts on the first one. Let me read the description on the back of this one. I guess I forgot to with the Forever Purge, but we kind of know what the description of that one is anyway. But in case you don't know about this one, the description says, Mystic Shield reactivate. This collector's edition Blu-ray is packed with extras and exclusive, etc., etc., etc. The actual description goes on to say, when the Ouija shark emerges from hell to cause havoc once more on Earth, a sorcerer with a history of fighting the ghostly Great White must follow it into a multiverse hellscape for one final battle. But this time he is bringing along some friends to help send the shark into oblivion, the highly anticipated follow-up to the smash cult hit. I'm not sure how anticipated the follow-up was, because I'm not... Well, I guess everything has a sequel these days. I was going to say I didn't really think that Ouija Shark needed a sequel, but franchises are what... Movies in general, but especially in the horror genre these days, that seems to be what people do. As for the first Ouija Shark movie, we're not talking about good cinema here. We're talking about cheesy popcorn, cheesy movie night sort of B or lower grade fun horror movies. So as long as you expect that, as long as you expect the kind of movie that you get with a movie called Ouija Shark, it's actually pretty good. I take issue with some elements of the first one. It was not perfect. It had one flaw in particular that really took a lot of wind out of the sails for me. But if I look past that one thing, because it was a minor moment in the film, then the actual film itself was good in the so bad it's good kind of way. And I expect this to be more of the same, and I'm looking forward to watching it. Should be a lot of fun on that sort of drunken, cheesy movie night sort of an occasion. Next and third out of the horror pack is a film entitled Broadcast Signal Intrusion, which sounds familiar, but I can't say why. I don't think I've actually seen this film. In fact, looking at the stuff on the back, nothing really looks familiar about it except for the title and the cover, so I have not seen this. At least I'm pretty sure I haven't. But let's read the description and see what it actually is all about. It says, for 3 years, James has been haunted by his wife's sudden and inexplicable disappearance. His best distraction is work, specifically archiving old videos. While watching decade-aged TV news footage one night, he sees a video interference that's deeply disturbing. And it's not the only interference he'll see. As his obsession over these strange clips increases and he submerges himself into their mysteries, James discovers troubling connections to his missing wife. Which will these broadcast intrusions bring him, though? Long-desired answers or a never-ending nightmare? So it sounds like... Well, I'm not entirely sure. If he's archiving old videos, it shouldn't be a broadcast signal that's getting to him. He should be watching the tapes back. So I'm not sure exactly what the setup there ends up being. I guess maybe he's watching tapes of broadcasts that had been interrupted back in the day. I'm guessing that must be what this is. And that has some real-world history to it. There have been broadcasts that have been interrupted. Broadcast television and radio, they're broadcast signals. They use the airwaves, and if you have powerful enough equipment, you can force foreign broadcast in over the top of whatever people were supposed to be watching on television, and that has happened several times in the past. And some of them have been solved, a lot of them have just been pranks, and there are some unsolved mysteries that probably were just kids with too expensive of toys playing a prank, but they have become these sort of cult mysteries, and you can read about them on forums on the internet. And it seems like this film is dealing with that, except here, they're not pranks, or they're not these just sort of harmless things that people have done, but it seems like in this case there's some either government or alien or some kind of a plot that involves this missing person and these broadcast interruptions. And because I'm kind of a nerd for those broadcast interruptions, you can tumble down those rabbit holes, and I have done so. And because of that, and just combining that with my love of horror movies, this should be an interesting one, and I'm quite looking forward to giving it a try. And finally, I mentioned one of the films is always a HorrorPack exclusive Blu-ray of some sort. That must be what this last one is. The spine tells us it is exclusive number 104, and it's a film entitled 9 Windows. Usually, I'm not familiar with these HorrorPack exclusives because not always, but most of the time they are lower budget indie films that have not gotten huge distribution outside of the HorrorPack program, and so a lot of times these are sort of hidden treasures that had flown completely under my radar, but a lot of times they end up being really good anyway. This is in fact one that has flown under my radar. The title sounds familiar to me, but it's not one that I've seen. I don't know anything about it. And hopefully this continues that trend on sort of both sides, being the under the radar indie film that I didn't know about, which I know this is, and hopefully it's also a really good one, which they tend to be, but of course I haven't seen this one, so I don't know yet. Let's read the description and see what we're in for. This one says, because she saw too much. After a tragic accident that killed her parents, Liza is unable to walk and lives alone. Blaming herself for the car crash, she suffers from depression and spends her days trolling people on the internet. As one does, I can appreciate that. Carrying on, it says, then one night someone posts a video of a bag catching on fire and the sounds of a dog yelping. Unfortunately, I have seen some videos kind of along where I think this is going as well, and the internet has wonderful things and it also has horrifying things, and some things cannot be unseen, so be careful what you click on. Carrying on, it says, in the days following, other videos follow of someone actually killing people in gruesome ways. When the police dismiss it as a hoax, it is up to Liza to find the killer before she becomes his next victim. I really like the sound of this one. You know, I do not consider myself an internet troll, but I am I spend too much time on the internet. I chat with people on the forums and what have you, and I do enjoy some internet sleuthing. I enjoy finding some anomalous video or something and trying to figure out what really happened. So I can sort of relate to a lot of what this character is doing in this film, and it's an interesting premise. It sounds like sort of a thriller side of the horror genre rather than supernatural, so that should be an interesting one. And yeah, it's not one that I've seen, so I can't review it yet, but from the sound of it, it certainly seems like HorrorPack has done good by us once again. I am very much looking forward to watching all of these, but this one as well. And so there we have it. 4 new films, or 3 new films. I've seen one of them, but 4 new physical artifacts, 4 new Blu-rays for my collection, and 3 new films that I haven't seen yet, and I'm looking forward to trying all of those. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I am fading quickly. It's been a very long couple of days, and I've been up for way too many hours at this point, so I probably have just enough wakefulness left to watch one of these films, so I'm gonna go do that. Do be sure, before we part ways once again, to subscribe and ring that notification bell and all those other things so you don't miss my next video coming soon. I've already planned what I'm doing next. And as I said, if you're interested in any of these films, purchase links right down there for you in the What's It, so you can check those out. But in the meantime, like I said, I'm going to go watch some movies, so enjoy some movies of your own, and as always, take care and stay scared.